Hey, what's up, everyone? That was a lot more fun this week than it has been the past 3 weeks, with the exception of the first half. Last week, Bengals come out and they look like the Bengals we had expected to see pretty much all season. They come out with a 31-7 victory. Overall, it was a dominating performance is the best way to put it. The defense started off, great. Forced Cleveland to punt on the first possession. Come back, Bengals get the ball. Jake Fisher got owned on, I believe it was the first or second play there by Emmanuel Ogbah, who strips Dalton. Browns take over. Defense holds again for another 3-and-out, thus causing Zane Gonzalez to miss a 48-yard field goal. That kept the Bengals. The defense was fantastic all day. The offense pretty much struggled to get going for the Bengals. They just couldn't get anything really in rhythm the first couple drives of the game. So it ended up nothing at the end of the first quarter. So like I said, the Bengals just when you thought they would get something going, the second drive I believe is what it was. They had a couple penalties that did take things back. Unfortunately. It was just, offense basically struggled, the first two drives until that third drive. Defense obviously was fantastic. First play of the second quarter, Dalton with a beautiful touchdown pass to A.J. Green, who A.J. had, he had Jabril Peppers, beaten, pretty soundly on that play. Overall, you can't really say much there. The Bengals were able to get driving, get everything going, early on in that drive. It's exactly what we needed. It's exactly what they needed to continue to roll. Defense continued after the touchdown. The defense was able to really apply pressure to DeShone Kizer. Couldn't really get him going. Kept him uncomfortable. They were able to make plays by forcing DeShone Kizer into some bad throws, and he made some bad throws. There was just some points to where he was really leaving his receivers hanging, or not even giving them a chance to catch the ball. Even when they did, they really couldn't get much. Like I said, couldn't get much rolling. Browns were able to drive down the field. However, a rocket pass by Kizer to Kenny Britt hit off Britt's hands, tipped up in the air, and Clayton Fedulum gets his first career interception. Great play there by Fedulum to be there. It's plays like that were huge, that came up big for this Bengals team. They were able to get it going. Big turnover at that time. You're up 7-0. You have a chance to keep Cleveland off the board when they're driving. They did a great job of that and holding them to nothing. Bengals continuously, they continuously put that pressure, like I said, on Cleveland and couldn't get them. Didn't really allow them to do much. The Bengals, after that turnover, they drove right down the field. The key play was a 3rd and 15. It was a pass to Tyler Kroft, who stepped up huge today. He had six receptions for 68 yards and 2 touchdowns. His longest was 21, and it was a 3rd and 15 play. He makes that catch, big third down conversion there. Then right after that, he goes to Kroft for a touchdown pass. I believe it was like a 3-yard touchdown pass or whatever. It was plays like that were huge. And, thank you very much. I do my best. But it was Tyler Kroft who stepped up big in Tyler Eifert's absence to come up and really make big plays like that. It's exactly what Andy Dalton needed on the flip side from A.J. Green and Joe Mixon and Gio Bernard. He needed those guys. He needs somebody like that to step up and complement those guys, and that's exactly what Tyler Kroft did. Bengals defense, after up 14-0, they come out and they hold them again to another 3-and-out. So, again, they continued to shut down the Browns. They couldn't get them going. Bengals get the ball back, 2-minute drill, and it was really, it was nothing. It was super quick. I believe they got the ball back with like a minute 42 or something. It was something like that. They get the ball back. 2 passes to Tyler Kroft, makes a couple big plays. 61-yard touchdown pass to Gio Bernard, who goes untouched. It was a quick screenplay. It was a delayed halfback screen. He kind of pops out. Dalton finds him. Like I said, Gio goes 61 yards, completely untouched. So it's plays like that that really got things going. And they're up 21-0 at the half. I mean, you felt that this game was over. You felt that they just weren't going to get anything, on this Bengals defense, and it wasn't until late, until they did. The Bengals again they start off. The first drive of the second half does stall out. They can't really get much going there. They didn't look too good. Randy Bullock comes out, hits a 41-yarder to extend the lead to 24-0. Defense comes right back out, another 3-and-out, stopping the Browns. And they the Cleveland Browns could not get out of their own way in a lot of plays. Bengals, come right back, drive down the field. Again, Dalton throws another touchdown pass. This time it was a 16-yard touchdown pass to Tyler Kroft to extend the lead to 31-0. And again, you could just feel that it was just, it was snowballing on Cleveland. They just weren't going to be able to get things going. At that point, you knew the game was over. The Bengals defense has looked phenomenal to get going, and they just, they were just on a roll. So the defense once again comes out and shuts down the Browns. And, to end the third quarter, to start the fourth quarter, Bengals offense sputters, kind of like what you expect with a Marvin Lewis team. And they don't really make the adjustments that you would like. And I was talking to one of my neighbors that you knew the Bengals weren't going to go out and blow out the Cleveland Browns. Just the simple respect factor between Hugh Jackson and Marvin Lewis. He was not going to go out there and embarrass Hugh. The Browns are already doing that for him. Pile on and make it worse for him. So you kind of felt that the Bengals were just going to try and do what they could to kill the clock. And, that's pretty much what they did. They just couldn't really get things going. Like I said, they were forced to punt to start the fourth quarter. And then the Browns come back, drive down the field. Pass was intercepted. DeShone Kizer kind of airmails the ball. George Iloka lays out, intercepts it. Penalty was called back due to a questionable roughing the passer call on Vontaze Burfict. I didn't feel it was a roughing the passer call at all. I thought it was a rough call there, and one that I don't think you make in that situation. But it's Vontaze Burfict. He's going to get those calls. It is what it is. I mean, he's a magnet for penalties like that. So you got to live with that. Now, if you're a Bengals fan, then defense comes out there and they hold them on. They hold them, force a turnover on downs, get the ball back. Offense does nothing again, and it's kind of went 3-and-out. Both defenses, pretty much holding the other one to nothing, and they were able to. Kirk, I will address your question in just a second. They were able to. The Browns were able to just, knowing that the Bengals were just going to run the football with Joe Mixon, they were just going to pin their ears back and take him out, and that's really what is all it was. Second string defense comes in for the Bengals and allows Kevin Hogan to drive down the field for Cleveland, and it was a couple of questionable calls. A pass interference call on William Jackson, the third. It was in the end zone. He just mistimed his jump and had no choice but to cause the penalty to keep the touchdown off the board. Then there was, Marvin had you could tell he was not real happy with the shutout, and the second string defense was not doing what they could to stop it. So he brings in the first string defense back in, and Nick Vigil gets called on I thought a ridiculous pass interference call. He ended up, I didn't think it was worth the flag on the tight end. I forget his name. It was Joku, I believe is who it was. foot. It looks like their foot got tied. Their feet got tied up and causing him to fall. And flag was thrown. And again, with the foul being in the end zone, gave the Browns another chance to punch it in. That's exactly what they did, ending the shutout streak with 1:54 to go. So, again, the Bengals get a big victory here. This should be something that they're going to be able to roll with coming up here in the next couple weeks as they take on a Buffalo team that went down to Atlanta and knocked off the Atlanta Falcons 23-17. Huge game next week for the Bengals and the Bills next week. But this could be the kind of game that it's going to get your team rolling and move forward. Andy Dalton, he's 25 of 30, 286 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. So it was a big game for Andy Dalton. He added 29 yards on the ground on 4 rushes. His longest was a 12-yard rush. Joe Mixon, 17 carries, 29 yards. Jeremy Hill, he aided the rushing attack with six rushes for 16 yards. And Gio also added 12 yards on 3 attempts. Receiving was led by Tyler Kroft, like I said, the 6 receptions for the 68 yards. And then Gio with the touchdown, he had 67 yards. A.J. Green he brought in 5 receptions for 63 total yards. Joe Mixon, Brandon LaFell, Ryan Hewitt, Tyler Boyd, C.J. Uzomah, and Jeremy Hill all had receiving receptions to help Andy Dalton there. The defense, like I said, looked really good, forcing pretty much nothing out of the Cleveland defense or Cleveland offense. Nick Vigil did have a sack. So did Darqueze Dennard on a play that was kind of a joke of a hit. He just kind of ran into I believe it was Kevin Hogan, I believe so it was. But Nick Vigil, 7 total tackles. Kavari Russell, and some mop-up duty, did have 5 tackles. Vontez, perfect in his first game back, had 4 tackles. He assisted with 2. So really overall, it was just an overall dominating performance by the Bengals. They did get the 1 turnover, should have been the 2. So the kind of play that you want to see from your defense and from your team overall moving forward in such a big week. Coming up here, going into the bye week in week 6. So we're a quarter of the way in. I'm a big fan right now of the way the Bengals came out and played this game. Again, it's the Cleveland Browns. They're a total dumpster fire. I do feel bad for Hugh Jackson. I think he's a really good coach. However, I don't know if he is head coach material, just based off of what we've seen so far in his time in Oakland and here in Cleveland. Where do you go from here? I believe you got to continue to move forward with that momentum that you got from this game here. Continue to get the ball out of the hands of Andy Dalton quick into your playmakers' hands, and you just have to continuously get the ball to A.J. Green and Joe Mixon. I think those guys, along with Gio Bernard, who can complement a Joe Mixon, let them make the plays that you would expect a playmaker to make. And it just comes down to Andy Dalton. He's got to get the ball out. He's got to protect it. The offensive line has to step up as well. They did not look very good. It's kind of come to that expectation. That's what we're going to see out of the offensive line. However, the Browns are not a very good team, obviously, but they did apply a lot of pressure on Andy Dalton and did make things kind of difficult for him. So, with that being the case, expect the Bengals offense to struggle against better defenses because it's going to be coming, especially with the Bills next week. Then you do have the bye week to kind of get things, going and kind of let guys rest and kind of build things up. So, as always, we appreciate I appreciate everything. thanks for watching this. As always, check out feeltheimpactsports.com. Follow me on Twitter. And as always, thank you guys so much, and have yourselves a fantastic rest of the day.